this is in no way a video that I've wanted to make. Maybe you can tell by the title, and if you've watched the news, net neutrality was kind of like ended. I'm not really even sure what it means. I know that there was a question of whether net neutrality should be taken away. It seems like a silly thing. It even seems unrealistic to even present such a thing, but about 2 weeks ago I heard about this. December 14th there was going to be a question of whether or not it should be taken away, and today it seems that it was taken away. We're being assured through articles and the news that it's not going to be as bad as some people are thinking it's going to be. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube, people saying that something like this happening is going to be the end of free internet as we know it. And I'm sure a lot of people would like to believe that this is paranoia. If you look at some articles or some video clips, some people are happy about this. And I don't know, maybe they know something that we don't. If you really think about what this means, it means that the internet is now going to be controlled. And this is not paranoia, this is a fact. The internet now is controlled. And, for a lot of Americans, people don't really know what that looks like. And I know what that looks like. I live in China. I have been living here for a few years now. And China is one of the few countries of the world that controls the internet. Another one is Cuba and North Korea. And there are a few African countries. I'm not really sure which ones they are. But for me, in China, controlled internet is a huge problem, and Chinese people don't feel it as much as foreigners, because a lot of Chinese websites have been controlled kind of from the beginning. So first off, let me describe to you what it's like when your internet is controlled. Here in China, the biggest control is that Chinese people aren't really allowed to know negative media or negative press. If something happens that kind of makes the government look bad, or makes the government kind of look like they don't know what they're doing, or they haven't been on top of something, anything really that you could complain about, and you could say, hey, they're not doing what they should be doing, the government's not doing their job. Anything like this is shut down as soon as possible. There's a whole division in China, like I guess you can call them cyber police or media guardians. They kind of look for keywords, and keywords are automatically removed. Like in China, if you wanna learn about certain events or historical, I think as Americans, you know what I'm talking about. I kind of don't want to say it because I'm in China right now. But if you Google certain events from the 80s, right, from the 90s, I'm sure by now you know what I'm talking about. You won't find information on it because it's just blocked. It's removed. Now, if you go on Wikipedia and you type in massacre, you'll see what happened by the perspective of foreign nations or press. But if you want to look at this stuff in Chinese as a Chinese person, you won't find it. It's gone because the internet is controlled. They don't want you to see negative events or events that make the country look evil. And so over the decades, you almost control people's thoughts by controlling the internet. even though the internet hasn't been around for decades in China. But it's not just the internet; it's the press. And today the internet is our main source of information. I think for most of us, it used to be television, and television is controlled here as well. But everything has to start somewhere. And if you start controlling the internet, you control other aspects. You control our thoughts in some ways. You control the kind of information we're getting. You're controlling our perception of what's around us. And just now I was going to say that it all starts somewhere, and the internet is a start, but the television media is already controlled, and it has been for a long time now. That's why some brutal events or graphic videos, the news, the shootings, the television's not going to show this. That's where you find it on the internet. You find those kind of videos online. And sometimes today, even television news, they put news on TV because it's such an issue from online or social media. So a lot of these events online and on the internet go to television because they're online or on the internet. And now that the internet and the flow of information is going to be controlled, that means it affects television media, it affects internet media, it affects social media, it affects newspapers, it affects everything, because the internet is like the core. It's how our information now is rapidly spread. So it's like a lot of information that we got before we're no longer going to get. And although that hasn't been specified, that hasn't been said, you have to think, whenever one of these new inventions or new laws are passed, you have to think of the potential of what could happen. And when you think of the potential of what could happen, chances are the people that pass this or approve this have already considered the potential. And maybe that's their goal, right? Maybe their goal is a system of control where they can get everybody thinking the same thing. But they're going to present it to you as, oh, well, this is because the internet is unfair, because gamers and streamers and certain websites take up all of the bandwidth. It makes it unfair for other people who don't have, that's why the internet is slower now. They're coming up with all kinds of excuses. I'm sorry, I can't list off more. I just don't buy it. I don't even want to mention it here because it's a lie, right? But back to what China's like. So as I said, the information is controlled and you don't see a lot of the negative press. And, I'm a teacher here, and when I talk to my students about issues in the country, people have a lot of good things to say, and they don't know about a lot of the bad things because they don't see it. Now, as a foreigner, our media is in English, right? So maybe we'll look to BBC or Fox or CNN, ABC, all these other websites, and we can see it as foreigners because until now, the media wasn't controlled for us. So a lot of websites that are foreign in China is blocked. So it's blocked so we don't get a negative opinion of the country, but it's more than that. Social media especially is blocked in order to prevent any kind of protests or social organizations from kind of rising up and trying to make change or fight the government. Kind of like back in the Revolutionary War, you had the Patriots, and the Patriots would come together, and in private they would, build their numbers, build their arsenal. And so with China, a similar thing happened in Beijing, we'll say, and it was a big event, and it made China look really bad. And since then, they've been trying to erase that event from history, and now that they have this, we call it the Great Firewall, which is what controls it controls the internet here. And because of that, people don't get the truth. They don't really know what's happening around them. They're just knowing the truth that they're allowed to receive. They're knowing the truth that's given to them when it's not really the truth. It's like a one-sided truth. It's kind of like one side of this, two heads of the same coin, right? You're only getting one part of the story. And whenever you get one side of the story, you're not getting the full story. And sometimes you're only getting a small part, right? So it's a big deal for people who care about the truth. Now, if you're one of those people who don't want to know the truth and you want to believe your government's good and you want to think the best of things, then net neutrality being taken away probably won't even affect you. I mean, I talked about this with some older people that I know, some older friends in my own country, and they don't know what this means. They don't seem to care what it means. It doesn't really affect them because their mind just doesn't go there. They think that their country is a good country and they want to think the best, and let them. I'll admit I'm one of those people who like to look up alternative media. I'm a person who reads books on conspiracy theories and I watch videos on conspiracy theories. I have been ever since about 9/11. Like a few years after 9/11, I saw a documentary called Loose Change, and since then I've always been one of those people that wonder that when something happens, I think to myself, is that really what happened? I always question what I see on the news, and sometimes when I question it, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe what I don't think happened actually did happen, and we never really know unless we're there. And so I'm kind of one of those people who always think that the story that the government's telling us isn't true, and that's kind of like a negative way to look at the world. But with this net neutrality being taken away, just my mind is racing with all the possibilities of, all right, what could happen now that they're going to control the internet. And that's exactly what this is. Whether they want to say it or not, whether they want to say it's to make it better for us, to make certain websites faster, or tell us that we'll save money because now we only need to spend $5 on this package and $10 on this package, while maybe in the past we paid $40, right? And I need to say this too. This is all a money grab. And this is not paranoia. This is a money grab. They have motives for other things, but I bet part of their argument and why so many ISPs are so supportive of this is that they're going to make more money. Internet service providers, like Time Warner and Comcast, they're all really supporting this because, for example, I think a lot of Americans, their internet bill is probably $30, $40, $50 a month starting. And then, of course, you can raise it if you want to have higher internet speeds or whatever. But generally, it's $30, $40, $50 a month. It's cheaper if you have like a internet TV phone package. And if you figure it's $30 or $40 a month for the entire internet, how much, whatever amount you want. Now what they're going to do, based on some screenshots and proposals that I've seen, is they're going to charge based on kind of like with television. You buy HBO, Cinemax, Sports, Nickelodeon, Disney. You have these packages, and you pay more the more packages you want. Well, with the internet, it's going to be the same deal. But just think, how many people just look at email and nothing else? How many people just go on YouTube and nothing else? Not a lot of people do that. So if you think each package costs $5 or $10, you add up all those different websites that you go to, you're going to end up paying a lot more than $30, $40, $50 a month. I know people like me, I'm a student in college. I often have to look up a scholarly article, and you end up having to search the web. Maybe you go to news sites, maybe you go to science websites, right? Maybe you go to blog sites. You usually have to go on social media as well. Think about all these different websites you're going to have to be paying for if you're a student. Think about if you are trying to apply for a job and you have to apply to this website, right? When I apply to websites, sometimes I'm applying to 50 jobs just in a day, when you're really job hunting. This is what can happen. So think, if you're going to have to be going to 50 different websites, how many of those websites are you going to have to end up paying more money for just so you can apply that one day? What if you get a job and you have to take an online orientation or online training, and you have to sign up for this and sign up for that, right? Think of all that money you got to spend extra. Or if you have a bank, which I'm sure many people have an online bank that they go to, Chase, JP Morgan, right? A lot of banks need you to sign up for their website or sign up or register so you can check your statements and your spending, and you're going to have to enroll or pay for whatever package that for banking as well. Like, if you really think of all of the possibilities, it's quite scary. And this is right off the top of my head. This is a rant video. I haven't done research on this, but like, the possibilities are pretty endless for how far they can take this thing now that they're controlling the internet. And if you look up what they're saying right now, and they're trying to reassure everybody and keep everybody calm. They're saying, oh, well, there's no certainty that we're going to monopolize this. There's no certainty you're going to be paying extra. There's no certainty we're going to control the news. Like, they're trying to keep everybody calm. But you know how it's always been. When they take away your freedom, they don't take it all away at once, because there will be a pushback. There's going to be a backlash to that. They have to take it away step by step by step by step, little baby steps. And these baby steps build and build and build. But as it's happening, you don't really realize it's happening, right? If a little tiny thing gets taken away, you say, oh, that's not a big deal, right? And, for example, not letting people drink in public. That's something that America has. A lot of other countries in the world don't have that. But a lot of people are supportive of this, and they'll say, oh, well, you shouldn't be drinking in public anyways. You shouldn't be walking around drunk in public anyways. And it's not something that a lot of people care about. Some people do care about it, but they just let it go, right? Because it's a little thing. What's another recent or somewhat recent thing that they've taken away? Let's use the example of phone taps. Now that they can control and listen to your conversations and monitor you, but they say it's in the name of taking down the terrorists, protecting you. And people let it slide because they're given a good reason, and it's not a huge deal. They'll say, oh, well, I have nothing to hide anyways. I don't need privacy over my phone calls. I'm not saying anything. I'm not a terrorist. I have nothing to worry about. And then maybe the next step that happened is when they start putting cameras around your town. I have a local town, back when I lived in America, a real nice local town, not many people, it's pretty suburban, and there's cameras all over the town. And I guess either people don't notice this or they don't care. And maybe they'll say, well, I have nothing to hide anyways. I can let cameras be on me. It makes me feel safer. And the point of this, the point of these examples is that they put out little things that not everybody's going to care about, not everybody's going to fight back. But if they threw it out there in one huge package that said, okay, from now on your privacy is done. We're going to watch you everywhere you go. We're going to, monitor your phone calls. We're going to have little hummingbird drones that stare into your window at night. People would be upset, and there would be a backlash, and people would start demanding politicians do something about this. There'd be lots of maybe rioting and protests. You never know. And so they kind of planned for this. So they always throw it out there in little bits. And you notice too, maybe a lot of you watching this video didn't even know net neutrality was taken away today. Today's December 14th. For me, it's December 15th. I'm in China right now. But yeah, maybe a lot of people don't even realize that this happened. And it's because they don't want this to be big news. They don't want to throw it in your face. They want to pretend like it's just a little thing, like it's no big deal, right? So a few years ago, they made it legal for what's called domestic terrorism. So now, if you're an American, you can be labeled as a terrorist and drones. I think they said that drones can actually kill you if it's warranted, if there's the right, situation that the government feels that this is a domestic terrorist. And a lot of people didn't really seem to care, because whenever they use the word terrorist, they feel like, okay, so this guy is, when you think of the word terrorist, you probably think of some foreign guy with a bomb strapped to himself. Or maybe you think of some guy opening fire or driving a car into a building. But, if they use this word terrorist, people are automatically going to probably support whatever they're going to try to pass on us. But, that term terrorist, it could be what we used to call a patriot. I'm not saying that the people that kill people and hurt people are patriots. No. I'm saying that a person who fits the mold of a patriot, a person who just doesn't, they don't hurt anybody, but they don't accept this, or maybe they want to make things better. Maybe they want to hack and put some truth out there. They could probably label you as a terrorist, just like Edward Snowden was labeled as a turncoat and the enemy of the country, right? It's all labels, and it's a scary thing that they're so smart that they can pass this kind of stuff on people who are ignorant, or people who don't really, maybe they're not aware of these kind of things, and they just let it slide. And that's what this is, taking away net neutrality. It's just, they're giving you good reasons why they did it, but they're not giving you the reasons why they did it. They're giving you what you want to hear. They're telling you you're going to save money, or they're telling you you're going to have better internet speeds. They're telling you things that are going to benefit you, and maybe they will benefit you at first. Maybe a year from now, people, all 5 of you, will watch this video, and you'll say, see, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. None of this stuff has happened. Just because it hasn't happened yet, it doesn't mean that it won't happen at all. Because if you can find a potential, a negative potential, a possibility of something that could happen, the chances are is that they already know. They already thought of this themselves. And they know that this is a potential. And the fact that they still pass this makes me believe that they want this potential to come to fruition. They want to control our internet, because when you control the internet, you control the people. When you control the people, you can stop any kind of possible uprising. You can stop any kind of backlash. You can stop modern day patriotism. And, they take away the internet. They control the internet. So what's next? What happens after you can control the internet? Things are going to start happening that they're not going to let you know about. There's going to be events. Maybe there'll be more police shootings or police instances of brutality. Maybe they'll start taking that out. Now, while that might sound like paranoia, I'll go back to China, a country that controls the internet. In China, you don't hear about police brutality that much. You don't hear about negative things happening or major government screw-ups happening, because they control the internet, they control the media. They'll stop it before, they'll stop it from being, sometimes it'll be posted on places like Weibo, which is kind of like China's Twitter. It might be posted, but they'll take it down quickly. And, each year, almost, and maybe every other year, the firewall becomes more advanced. You'll notice more websites are taken down, more websites are blocked. And by the way, the whole blocked website thing, that the way that works, at least in China, is if you were to try to go to Google or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, you go to this website and the page will just, it'll look like an error page, or maybe cannot display information on this page, blah, blah, blah. It's all because the firewall doesn't allow you to access this page. Now, if you use a VPN is a software that lets you make your IP look like it's in different countries. You can access these websites with a VPN, but it's extremely slow. And each time the firewall gets stronger, less VPNs will work. And right now in China, a lot of VPN providers are getting arrested. Some of them have already been jailed. So look, at a few years ago, China would allow people to have VPNs, even though there was a firewall. And now, today, 2017, you can go to jail for selling VPNs or providing VPNs. And maybe a few years from now, just using a VPN could probably put you in jail, because it's a process. Like I said, it can't just happen in one motion. It has to come out in little increments, little piece by piece by piece by piece. So China is almost like where America is headed now. Now that America has taken away net neutrality, this is the path that America is on. That's not paranoia. That's the truth. Otherwise, why would they take it away? There are things I really don't know about this whole thing. Like, is this going to affect all countries, or is this just going to affect America? I'm not in America. I'm going to be in Japan soon. When I'm in Japan and I go to YouTube.com, am I going to have to sign up for some kind of package in addition to the package that I'm already paying being in my country, where I live? Where I am right now, I have to pay an internet bill each month, and this covers the whole internet. Am I going to have to now pay extra money for using Google or Facebook? Oh, I don't know. We don't know. Am I going to be able to use a VPN and bypass this whole thing? Are people going to be able to, pay $10 a month for a VPN and be able to bypass this whole thing and go to whatever website they want? We don't know. The thing with VPNs too is that they're not the solution to everything. VPNs, the disconnection often breaks, it often disconnects on you. So if you're trying to watch a video on YouTube, for instance, and your VPN will disconnect every few minutes, it can make like a 5-minute video take like more than an hour, right? Maybe this video would take like many hours, because that connection will keep breaking. Sometimes the page will crash. What some people do is they'll hit pause and they'll wait for it to build up so they can just watch all the way through without the pauses. And sometimes with a VPN, you'll do that and then just the whole page will crash, or the whole video will restart, or maybe it'll just stay paused, loading, that thing that goes like this, the loading icon, and it'll just do that forever. And it's a very big possibility, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe one day too, owning or using a VPN is going to be a crime like it is here in China. It's not here in China just yet, but it's definitely headed there. They don't want people to have access to the outside world. They don't want people to have VPNs. And it makes you wonder, after they take away, or after they control the internet to the degree that they want, and then maybe the next step is that they'll take away VPNs, and people who use the VPNs will go to jail. Maybe they'll make using a Bitcoin illegal. Maybe they'll make using torrent applications illegal. Like we all know, or maybe we all remember back in the early days of the internet that you could use BitTorrent and uTorrent, and you could just download massive amounts of media, and they didn't really do anything about it because they didn't really know how to control it yet. The internet wasn't mainstream back then, so you had Mega Upload, you had Rapid Share, you had these big websites where you could just put media up. People could, yeah, my camera just cut off. People could, on a massive scale, file share, and everybody could see everybody's videos, and we didn't need to go to Blockbuster anymore. We didn't need to go to our local Joe's Video and rent videos. We could just go on the internet and download. And then they took this away. And then maybe you remember when YouTube was first kind of established, you could put up anybody's music, you could put up movies, and people could make videos, and they didn't have all these rules that they have now. You could cuss, you could talk about all kinds of issues, and they had advertising back then, and you could make a ton of money on advertising. And then you see how when the mainstream media, when the big companies and corporations get their hands on things, you see that they take away almost everything that you liked about something. And now you look at YouTube today, and it's nothing like it used to be. It's so controlled. They want to start putting out professional TV shows, and they're taking away money from the content creators, and nobody's making what they used to be making. It's nothing like it used to be, and that's just YouTube. Now the whole internet is going to be like this. Now the whole internet is going to be controlled. The big companies, they got their hands on it. I know I keep kind of bouncing back to back, and I'm all over the place with this video, and my mind is just racing with what's going to happen now. Now you cannot say America is a free country anymore. We have that whole slogan that America's a free country, and that reputation that if you want to escape persecution, and you want to go to a place that has free religion and all these freedoms, they would say go to America. Now you really can't say America's a free country anymore. We have so many groups that are against hate speech, which is really, it's free speech, really. Now, freedom of speech is in question with these groups that don't want certain things to be said. Now you have the internet taken away, and we don't have equal media, and we don't have, there's so much we don't have anymore. You can't really find an argument that says America's a free nation anymore, other than the fact that we could, we don't have a bedtime. We can go to sleep when we want. We can eat pizza if we want. We can go to eat McDonald's. Like, in these ways, yeah, you can say, okay, you're free. But in the grand scheme of things, America now is on a short list of countries that have controlled the internet. In Europe, they don't do this. In even a lot of East Asian countries, they don't do this. And America, America is a country where if America does something, other countries will begin to follow. Because in many ways, America is like the trendsetter, one of the trendsetters of the world. And so if this whole net neutrality thing makes big profits or makes big benefits for those in power, for the big companies, the rich people, the one percenters, it's only a matter of time until the rest of the world begins to, step up and do the same thing. So this whole thing, if you're a foreigner, or if you're from a foreign country and you're not living in America, maybe you look at this thing and you see, oh, well, that's them. I'm safe over here. I'm living in Australia. I'm living in Europe and Asia. This doesn't affect me. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. You just look at the Copyright Acts. A lot of the Copyright Acts, people don't agree with the Copyright Acts. When the Copyright Acts first started, people felt like they could, maybe stick a blank VHS tape and record pay-per-views or record things on television. And there were a lot of supporters of this, saying that it's your freedom to do so because you own the tape. And some people would put their CD or DVD in their laptop or computer, and they would copy it, and they would put it on their computer so they could make copies of it. Because CDs and DVDs get scratched up, people felt like it was fair use. They bought this CD, DVD, it's theirs to do with as they wish. And then you have the big, court cases and lawsuits against people that do this. It's as if you don't own anything. It's like you're borrowing it. You're paying them to borrow it. you can't distribute it. And another example would be when Xbox One was first being talked about, and the little details of Xbox One was coming out, saying that you couldn't let your friends borrow this game. It would only work on one console, right? I don't know if a lot of you know about this, because it didn't actually happen, because there was just such a backlash that they had to change these policies. Again, I know I'm jumping again, but it's just examples of how once a company or even a country starts something and it works, other countries will follow, and then if it doesn't work, it'll die. And in this case, with net neutrality, I figured net neutrality was a no-brainer. People have tried to repeal net neutrality in the past, and it's been shut down. But you knew that no matter how many times it's shut down, they're going to try for it again in a different way. That's part of the American system, is that something could get stopped or blocked, and they can come at it again from another angle. And I had hoped that at least for a while longer, the internet would be free and equal. And today it ended, and the battle is lost. There was a lot of petitions. I saw people putting up videos and posting links for you to speak your opinion, contact your local senator, or contact your local politician, whoever would handle this kind of thing. And it looked like everybody was all for net neutrality, and nobody wanted this to pass. But it happened anyways, and you could blame Trump. I'm sure many people will. You could blame the FCC. You could blame this person. You could blame the whole spokesman for this, that Indian guy that would come on TV, and people all over YouTube hated the guy. You could blame whoever, but in the end, it happened. And so now you have to wonder, what do you do? Maybe a lot of you are just going to kind of post some tweets, express your displeasure, and then just kind of move on. For me, I live abroad. I had thought of coming back to America, and for a while now, I'm just seeing like a lot of things I don't like, and I kind of see the direction America's going towards, and I think, do I want to live in this world where we're not free and things are being controlled, and the internet's controlled, our information's controlled? They're trying to make money off of us, even more so than already. Like, already things are way too expensive, and they want to suck more money out of us. And it's going to come to a point where no matter what we make, we're never going to be able to live comfortably, because we have all these bills that are going to be paid, and more money, and we're going to have to pay more on this, more on that. And the thing with the internet is that in any way that they can make money off of you, they're gonna, and it's just gonna keep happening. And maybe right now, for the near future, it's $5 for this package. Maybe next it's gonna be $15, right? Or maybe $30. They can just do whatever they want. Once they have you, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Go out in the street with guns, and what are you gonna do? March to Washington? It's not gonna happen. Once they have you in the first step, it's all over for you. Unless you are some kind of, politician or somebody with a lot of power, it's not going to change now. It's been set in motion, and this is how it is now. We don't have net neutrality anymore. I think it hasn't really set in for me yet either. We don't have internet freedom anymore. It's done. At least as Americans, it's done. Something could get overturned. Something could get repealed. That remains to be seen. And even if it does happen, like I said, they'll just come at it another way, and they'll try for it again, because controlling the people through the internet, is going to benefit the country. It's going to benefit the government. Excuse me. It's going to benefit the government. It's going to benefit these businesses more than it's going to benefit the common people. And we don't matter. We're just people. We don't matter. They matter. And that's the way it is. Will this affect you? Yes, it will. This is one of those things that are definitely going to affect you. It's going to affect everybody. Maybe if you're a little child, it's not going to affect you because you don't pay the bills, or maybe you don't really have a grasp on how the world is yet. So maybe the next generation, people my age who are having kids, and the children are going to be raised in this environment, they're not going to know what it was like when the internet was free. They're not going to know of a time that was better. We'll have to tell them. We'll have to remind people and pass on our knowledge and our experiences, let people know there was a time when the world was better. There was a time when the country was better. And just look at the election. That was a big premise of the election, is that a lot of people felt times used to be better and they want the country to be better, right? Make America great again. And, whether you support that or not, there's going to be always people with this memory that there was once free internet, and people are always going to resent that. There was once free internet and it's not going to be free anymore. And, will there be such a protest, and will there be so many groups wanting, it to be great again? Who knows? Probably not. The whole Make America Great thing, that was many different political things. It was a different situation, I understand that. But the point is that it's no longer the way it was yesterday. It's no longer the way it was even right now, because, this kind of thing is going to take some time for it to change. But as it stands right now, that's the path that's going to happen, and net neutrality is done. Will this affect people who make videos on YouTube, or will this affect people who go on YouTube? Yeah, maybe. Maybe there's a lot of people who don't want to pay for a YouTube package. Understandably so. Not everybody uses YouTube all that much. Some people use YouTube as like their home page, and a lot of websites that we go to it for fun. People work hard. They have full-time jobs. They have stressful lives. They have kids. Some people just want to go on the internet, and it's like a window to the world. You don't want to be limited to what you can do. You want to just go where you want to go. Maybe it comes to you on impulse, and you say, you know what, I'm in the mood to watch some stupid videos, or I'm in the mood to watch some cat videos, right? Or maybe you watch something and you say, oh, I'm in the mood to check out the news now. I'm in the mood to download a game. I'm in the mood to go on Steam and play a game. I'm in the mood to go buy a game on Amazon, or things like this. They just come to you and you do it. And you don't really think about what would happen if you couldn't. And now you're going to have to think. You're going to have to really sit down and think, do I want to have the entertainment package? Do I want to have the shopping package? Do I want to have the streaming game package? And you're really going to have to think, which websites do you want the most, and which websites are you going to have to do without? It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. And like I said, I'm not in America. I don't know how this is going to affect me. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are not American. They're living in English-speaking countries, the majority. Or there's a lot of people in even Japan who use YouTube.jp. And how is this going to affect all of us? There remains to be seen. When I know more, I'm gonna rant, and this rant doesn't really change anything. It doesn't change anything, but I think it's good to hear an alternative, opinion or perception, because when you look at the news and when you look at mainstream media, in all likelihood, they're just going to tell you good things, and they're going to praise it and think, oh, now it's so much better than it was. Net neutrality was the devil, and now things are going to be good, and that's not the way it is. So you gotta look at people's, different people's thoughts on this thing, and I'm pretty creeped out by this. Like, why did this have to happen? You hoped that the internet was your one safe haven. Like, we all know television's controlled. We all know the radio's controlled, and the internet was our last place where things are not controlled, and you can say and do what you want. You can look up, you can go on the dark web if you wanted to. You could go on Reddit and see crazy people, and you could have these comment wars, and you could go on YouTube and watch people talk and speak their mind, and you could watch porn, and you could look at WikiLeaks and all these, everything was free, and now it's not. And while I'm talking about adult websites, it's like, now how is this going to work? Who's the internet service provider that's going to present you with the porno package? It really makes you wonder, and you could think about this, and I could talk about this all day. What's going to happen? What's our future like? This is a big day. It's a dark day, but it is a big day, and things will never be the same after this. So, well, that's all I have to say for now. I've probably repeated myself far too much in this video, but that's a rant. I didn't make a script for this. I just wanted to come up here and use this platform and speak my mind on this issue. If you have anything to say in the comments, go for it. Yeah, that's what happened. I really think that if this was a democratic vote, or if this country was truly democratic, this would not have happened. And this is just one more proof in recent history that what the majority of people want is not what's going to happen. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. So, hopefully this whole net neutrality being taken away, hopefully nothing too ugly comes in the near future. It'd be nice if they just kind of really made this happen slowly, but we'll see. All right, so I'll see you next time.